Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Nath, and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist, our weekly video series where we have a talk about games and pretend it's for work. With gothic thriller Vampyr out next week, a game full of life and death decisions and their consequences, we decided to have a chat about video game killings we deeply regret. Well, that was the idea anyway.
Right, so I had a little bit of a problem with the title of this video because everyone that I have murdered in a video game, i.e. deliberately killed, I've enjoyed it. I've not regretted it at all.
God's sake.
But that's what murder is, you know, you deliberately kill someone.
You could still regret that.
Yeah. But I don't. I'm really trying to think, you know, I murdered all those people in GTA, it was great fun. Murdered all those people in Skyrim, great fun. So my entry is a manslaughter.
Right.
That I was then really sad about, instead of a murder that I regret.
Okay.
And it is in Skyrim.
Yeah.
That brilliant game that just keeps on giving for the Tuesday checklists. And it was Uthgerd the Unbroken, who is like a mercenary warrior you find. I think she's in Whiterun. And the way you get her to join your party initially is you have to have a fist fight with her. She won't respect you until you beat her in a fist fight. So you have this massive tavern brawl.
I like that.
That's how I work.
Yeah. I don't. So you have a massive tavern brawl with Uthgerd the Unbroken. And if you win, you bet like 100 crowns on it or something. So you win 100 crowns or gold, whatever it's called in Skyrim, and then you can pay Uthgerd like a mercenary fee, and she will join you on your adventures.
So far, so good.
And Uthgerd is brilliant. She's like a great complement to my play style of Skyrim, which is to creep about through caves and dungeons with a bow and arrow and stealth shoot everybody. And she's like a massive brawler with like a two-handed great sword and big heavy armor. So, you know, when you go into those places in Skyrim, you're like, oh dear.
Yes.
The monster, maybe I'm a bit underleveled. I shouldn't go in here. But it was full of items and little chests that needed lock picking. I was like, maybe if I just carefully sneak around, don't fight anyone too much, and just get a load of cool high-level loot from this place, and maybe I could come out of here with an amazing set of armor and an amazing bow and stuff. Unfortunately, we then found ourselves running away from one troll down, and we went down like a tight tunnel in this cave, and there was another troll at the other end. And we were like, oh no. And so we were kind of bottlenecked. We had no space to run around. There was nowhere to flee, so we just had to, you know, start fighting. And it was just get your swords out and just hack and slash and hope.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we managed to kill both the trolls, but I also realised that Uthgerd had also just fallen. And I realised, no, she was dead.
Oh my God.
She was on the floor, dead. And I realised, because it was me, Uthgerd behind me, and each of us had like a troll on either side, I realised it was me.
What?
I knew it was me because I killed my troll in front of me, and then I turned around and I was trying to help her with her troll.
Friendly fire.
And the final blow, I'm pretty sure, was me. Just like, it was like a friendly fire blow, and she fell down, and I was gutted. I feel like I'm gonna cry now. It was really sad. Just like,
I'm so sorry for your loss, Rob.
thank you. When people die in Skyrim, they really do go ragdoll and dead, and there's just nothing. And I took all her stuff, obviously. Slowly hobble back over encumbered with all my dragon scales that she was carrying for me. But yeah, all the murders I've done, I meant.
Right.
And
We
I'm
don't
glad.
count it.
I'm
Right.
glad I did them.
Okay.
All those fairs in GTA, wanting to go to shops.
Yes.
Idiots. God.
Okay, maybe it's not a straight up murder. It could be a manslaughter. I think there are actually quite a few murders that I do regret, but this one sprang to mind immediately. It really affected me at the time, and it's from Heavy Rain, a game about murders, in fact. But yeah, and it's not the big spoiler from Heavy Rain, which I just won't say in case someone doesn't know. But it's something else. So in Heavy Rain, you play a series of characters who are all trying to track down the origami killer, who has been abducting, I think, is it just young boys or is it just children? I think just children. and murdering them. And
Hence, Origami Killer.
one of the characters you play as is a guy called Jaden, who's like an FBI kind of a detective dude. He's got some cool sunglasses that I want that can do all kinds of analysis, and he has a long leather trench coat that I don't want as much actually. And I think it's kind of like midway through the game or something, maybe a little bit further. You're playing as Jaden, and him and his partner, who's an awful man, have followed a lead to this what's the word for somebody? A suspect's house for a perp's house, and you get there, and it is a scary place. It's like straight out of Seven, which is a brilliant film, but with a terrifying murderer in it. And it's like straight out of Seven. He has a wall that you're in a room that is just basically crucifixes. And at this point, the guy comes home. Nathaniel, his name is, this perp suspect. He's still innocent. And you start talking to him. Your partner starts interrogating him quite a lot. Kind of like going off script, where you can intervene if you want, and you're like, hey, what are you doing there? Just chill out. And eventually he riles this guy up so much, I think he pushes him to the ground, and the guy gets out a gun, which is not a good look for a suspect and a perp. Now at this point, sometimes when your character's making decisions, you know, each decision, like a conversation tree is mapped to a button, and the buttons kind of like float around your head. And when you're calm, this is all kind of like, you know, nice and easy. You get time to like look and read. When your character's getting stressed, they start going really like blurry and hazy and jittering about, and they're all kind of like randomly around your head. And I was getting quite stressed at this point, but I managed to talk him down. And at this point he drops the gun, he puts it down, he turns around, that your partner goes in and like kind of like grabs him really aggressively, and the music's like ramped up. He grabs him really aggressively like round the back to arrest him. And out of nowhere, he kind of like, something happens. It's like you don't really see exactly what's happening, but he makes this move. He kind of like turns and he holds something out at your partner. And it wasn't even that. It was just the button R1 came on the screen for me. It was like, just press R1. And I was like, okay, I'll obey. And just shot this man. Just shot him. It was just like, bang. So I didn't exactly know what I was doing, but also I was incredibly tense, and I did see this movement. I pulled R1 and I shot him clean in the head. And in fact, and I knew that he had dropped his gun, so I don't know what I thought, if he had another gun or whatever. He actually just had a crucifix in his hand, and I felt really bad. And what I liked was that Jaden also felt really bad. He was like, I killed this man. I guess I also kind of worried what it meant for the game, because that is a game of spider webs, and like, you know, you do this happens. And that I've only played Heavy Rain once through, so that's my story. That's it. I don't know what it's like if Nathaniel lives, sadly.
Don't think it matters.
Well, it matters to me. No, I mean, not enough to go back and change it, but.
So I have no idea how to make this one funny. There's nothing funny about this one at all.
I bet we can do it.
I bet you're going to have a really good go at it. In fact, actually, I think you might even struggle. This is actually probably one of my games of last generation, and it's a game I think everyone should play, regardless of the type of games you like. I'm obviously a big JRPG fan. It's a game made by a team called Jaeger, who actually went into insolvency in 2015, and it is Spec Ops The Line.
Good game.
It is a shooter, realistic sort of style military shooter. It was very much marketed towards a COD audience, but actually its single player story is incredible. Now, you should have played it by now because it's that good. It was even on Plus at one point. So it's going to be kind of slightly spoilery, but I'm going to need to do it. So it's set in Dubai. The team called the 33rd are on their way back from Afghanistan when a storm hits and they end up stuck in Dubai. They then decide to stop following orders and actually look after the civilians to try and get them out, because Dubai has basically become a no-go zone because of this storm. But things seem to have gone wrong. The 33rd seem to be having a trouble looking after the civilians and have actually put out martial law, and they do seem to be killing civilians. Things just really aren't right. So your team of Black Ops agents are dropped in to kind of try and sort this out. You see the 33rd, you do see them hurting civilians, and you are starting to follow them. You get to one point, it's a bit of a standoff, you're up on like a ledge, and the 33rd are down there. They've hoarded, they've got the civilians, they've sort of hoarded them through, and they're now fighting you. You're looking around, now you can try and fight this battle, but it's a constant, they'll just keep coming. So you have no option but to use something called Willy Pete, which most people know is white phosphorus. So white phosphorus is a chemical weapon that basically ignites on impact. So if it touches skin, clothes, any kind of combustibles, you just sort of go up in flames. So you decide to take out the 33rd using the white phosphorus, and you get to control the missiles. You can see the infrared to see where people are running. So you drop it all, and eventually you're like, cool, done. There's no one running. We've won this battle. You come down off the ledge, and as you're walking through, it's brutal. There are still burning corpses, people like dragging themselves, clearly all burnt, mutilated, coughing their last breath, because obviously the smoke from white phosphorus is also very heavy and toxic. And as you're walking through, you find one sort of still talking member of the 33rd. He's like, what have you done? And as you come around the corner, you realise the 33rd weren't killing civilians, they'd actually hidden them. And you have just burnt all of the civilians alive. And it is just corpses like cuddling each other, desperately trying to, you can see where they've burnt themselves to death, trying to protect children, where they're on top of each other to try and keep people. Even in that gameplay moment, it's harrowing, because you went in so like, ooh-ah, and just gonna shoot everything that moves, and you realise you've done exactly that, and it was the wrong thing to do. But you have to use the white phosphorus, and it is the most horrific sort of, this is what war is like. And Spec Ops did it so well. It really made you understand what it must be like to be thrown into the field like that, to think you're following orders, to think you're doing the right thing, to get it wrong, and then living with the trauma and the stress. Even with my description of it, you have to play Spec Ops The Line. Have to.
I'm a lot like Rob in that most games that I've played, I feel justifiable homicide is, or the occasional manslaughter.
Loads of mine weren't justified. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, Rob just doesn't regret it. It's the difference.
Well, there's a tiny one, throwaway one was in Dishonored 2, which I accidentally once killed like a black market guy. And I felt bad about that for about 2 minutes, and then I just replayed the level. But the game which really stuck with me, and it wasn't a single murder, it was the problem that the game made me murder multiple people, and that was Fallout 4. And I think, I've spoken about Fallout 4 before, because it was a game that eventually I just gave away. I sent it away from my house so I could stop playing it. And it's because I was getting obsessed with the settlements, obsessed with like making everybody happy. And one of the things which I haven't spoken about much is, with the quick save system, the consequences of your actions in Fallout 4 never really feel as kind of heavy as they might do in another game where it saves instantly, like Dark Souls or something like that. If I'd killed anybody that I didn't mean to in Dark Souls, I'd have felt bad for ages. But in Fallout, every now and again, you do just sort of like shoot someone in the face just to see, like with your massive kind of atomic gun, just to see, brown, like, is that guy gonna die? I'm not sure, like, brown. I tried to kill, I basically ended up experimenting to see who I could murder and who I couldn't. And then sometimes they would stay dead and I wouldn't reload the save. So like within, I got so goddamn sick of like the close-up zoom camera move that it does on your different, like in my main kind of settlement, and you'd be walking out and it's like zooms in and they want to talk to you and you're just like, I don't care, I just don't care. I hate that. I don't care what you've got to say to me, I don't care, just go and pick the carrots like I told you to do and leave me alone. And my problem was I was trying to get all my settlements up, or I wanted to keep them all happy. They always needed new beds, they always needed more defences, more food. And like obviously one answer to the population problem is murder. So so every now and again I would visit a settlement and it'd be like, I don't have the wood that I need, but I can just murder some people.
I've got some guns though.
Yeah, it's like it's like a resource management problem. And before I stopped playing the game, and this is probably where my final save is. Can I drop some spoilers for Fallout 4
Yeah.
on you guys?
I've just paused. Spec Ops, so.
So I stopped playing the game when I got to the Institute, right? And you're walking around the Institute and you're like, oh my God, this place exists. I had to build a huge machine to get here. You're like really down the rabbit hole. It's really genuinely exciting. I was like, I've been wandering around the goddamn wasteland full of cockroaches and ugly plants for like 3 weeks of my life. And now I'm somewhere clean and incredible and there's a sci-fi story to it. You meet the guy who's the head of the Institute. Well, first of all, you think he's Sean. But Sean is tiny, still small, and you're like, this is weird, what's going on? And it turns out that small Sean is a synth who's been made by your son, who is like the head of the Institute. So like your mind is like, what's going on? And like he comes into your room and has like a big chat with you, like, this is why I've done the things that I did, and you might not be able to understand it. And I just shot him in the face, which it's just one of the things that you're allowed to do, and it affects like your ending. But I didn't really hang around to discover it. I think probably my last quick save is you have just shot your son that you've been looking for in the face, and then you stop playing the game. And I guess I regret it. I don't really regret shooting Sean because I think he made some bad life choices, but I certainly regret that game turning me into what could be accurately described as a murderer.
Yeah, my Lily died.
Just gutting.
She was carrying loads of stuff. I had to make some real decisions. I wrote a note down to remember where her body was so I could go back and get some of my stuff.
I feel like people are finally beginning to see the real Dave, a man who would not only kill you accidentally, but would tag the spot on Google Maps to come back for your shoes and trousers later. A monster. So let us know in the comments what video game murders you regret. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video and join us again next week for another Tuesday checklist.